Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday night Q&A with the once again lovely and gracious Miss E.
The not so well, I don't know, put together Missy.
You
It
always look
happens.
well put together.
You're sweet.
I'm honest.
Anyway, you're not.
I'm still wearing my dead sexy. What are they? Do they look more like bicycling glasses
Look like goggles.
or goggles? Yeah, they look. I'm almost like lab goggles, I guess.
Yes, very much like lab goggles.
Yeah, and I was asked today if I actually picked these out and chose this particular style. To
Seriously?
which, yeah, to which I asked them that, or I told them that I had absolutely nothing to do with the style. There was only one pair. They were UV protective, which I've got to wear for a few weeks till I get my eyes finally adjusted.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, they just
didn't
sent
have
you
a
home
vote
with
in the matter.
3 pair. They were like, he has to wear these 24/7.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. One had like a bifocal on it, one's plain, and then one is for the sun. How's the hiccup?
Hiccups are gone. Getting adjusted.
Don't curse yourself on that one, please.
I, Melissa with the best comment of the night.
They're
They're
edgy.
edgy.
He can send them to you when he's done because trust me, he will never want to wear those again. Ever.
And hello, Carson. Good to see you. And
Hi,
Melissa.
everybody.
Good to see everybody. Appreciate y'all joining us again tonight. It's kind of a big night because I don't
Is
get to
it?
do this often.
What are we
But
doing?
well, don't you wish you knew?
He tells me nothing and then he wonders why I go off on like tangents. It's a thing.
Well, tonight I'm extremely proud, pleased, honored, excited to show y'all
Oh,
the new website formatting. Ellen put this together, and I just want to say, she spends a lot of time and effort. She works on it, and I really appreciate it.
thank you.
And I like the new little touches. So, wanted to give her dues,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
give her credit where due, and very much appreciate it.
Just trying to build a brand that looks, similar everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, we still got to come up with a swoosh and an intro song.
I'm working on it. It's, this stuff is not the easiest thing, but I figured a brand was probably more important at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It is not the easiest. I've tinkered around with some of it. And it is if you don't do it full time or hire somebody to do it, there's a
I kind of like
learning curve there.
how the M's are all like kind of staggered across the screen. The logo M and then the
Right.
M and then the N. I don't know. Melissa, if I could do that oh so quickly, I would do it. We had someone who was going to do it. Nicole with ADHD, of course, ADHD is a thing, and then she started her own channel. So then it kind of got pushed under the rug, and so now it's up to me to figure it all out.
Actually did record a little video of Chunk and Tallulah running by. So we've got the video. We just need to GIF it, tie it to a sound.
I kind of like Sky Ricky.
Get a train swoosh with money on the train, dollar signs on the train.
Because I'm E-Train.
True.
How
about two of them? We'll just alternate between them.
Okay.
Once you figure out one. Now, if you find a train and it's moving, so you'll have to go frame by frame and put a dollar sign on it.
That's easy. The hard part is getting Tallulah and Chunk slowed down enough to take out all the background.
Oh, you don't need to do all that. Just
No,
Just use
no,
it like it
no,
is.
that's not cute. No. Oh, so wait, okay. There are so many things going on right
Yes.
now.
You can
Multiple
have
swoops.
multiple
Yep,
swoops. I
you
think
can.
so. I think we need multiple swoops.
Or
And this one,
swooshes or whatever they are.
I just, I just, not much I can say to that.
If we
And the thing,
could, have that without getting copyright stricken, we would do it. There's no doubt. But that's just not, we'd have to pay Dire Straits or get their, it would be a mess. We'll get copyright stricken in 2 seconds.
yeah, I have been known to improperly use copyrighted material, and we might have actually a copyright strike against us.
Well, I keep trying to tell
Just
me he
saying.
has to give credit to the person that does the thing.
Well, this
Oh,
was when we first started.
yeah.
Wasn't really aware of all that. I thought if it
Oh,
was,
yeah, and the Jimmy Buffett thing, that was like, how can you copyright strike
yeah,
a band across the street that's singing Buffett songs for, in remembrance of his life?
Yep.
That just seems a little messed up, but whatever.
So, but we definitely appreciate the the ideas and the
hmm
smiles. So,
I'm glad you like the
okay,
new logo-y things. I hope everyone else does too.
I do. I think it looks good. I like the colors. Um, getting ready for Christmas. Hope everybody is just about done with their Christmas shopping.
I don't have any more.
Yeah, for me, traditionally, I would wait till the day before Christmas to go shopping. It's kind of one, the malls are less full. Two, if you find anything that works, you're glad. So it just made shopping easier.
I appreciate that, Sky Ricky. Everything's on sale Christmas Eve as well. So Monty Python's, God, we can't do anything it has to be original or they will just kill us on that one.
Now, aren't there some music like some of the in there some music that's just in the public domain? It's not copyrighted. Classical music. I don't know.
We could use the song that I wrote for you, but I don't think you're gonna go for that one.
That's not really about money.
I'm just saying it's hard to
YouTube.
find. I mean, I purchased that song, but
Yeah, but I don't know if you purchased the rights to it.
oh, I did. I can do whatever I want to with it.
Okay.
Because essentially, I helped write the lyrics. I gave all the inspiration.
Yeah, I've just known other people on the interwebs to use certain things like a Space Odyssey to the intro to Space Odyssey or whatever. So I'm kind of wondering if there aren't certain things that are in the public domain.
Oh no.
Went to buy a gift today for our Secret Santa, and now I'm all hopped up on ice cream and butterbeer. What the hell is butterbeer?
No idea. But for Secret Santa, when I was a hairstylist, I only bought lottery tickets. I was like, good luck, man.
That's actually not a bad idea.
It's not. I told them they had to share it with me if they ever won anything. I think I bought 20 tickets each every season. And I think somebody won like $5. I told them they can keep it. Don't worry about it.
I just saw this morning where there is an unclaimed ticket for $44 million somewhere, and it's about to expire. Another couple of days, it'll be worthless.
In North Carolina or in the world somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's the big, multi-state lottery that North Carolina is a part of.
They probably throw it away. It'll never get claimed.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Well, they've got a couple more days to try to do it, but $44 million.
I mean, they have how long to claim it?
30 days.
I mean, if it's been 28 days and you haven't cashed that thing in, mm-mm.
Melissa's getting us up to date. It's a drink in Harry Potter, but traditional Tudor butterbeer is actually made with beer and butter.
Beer and butter.
Yeah, not
I have
familiar
no
with
word.
that. Never seen it. Never tried it.
Oh, oh, yay!
Congratulations to Between Two Towns. Not only finished with finals, but passed both classes. So last few weeks have been a blur. A blur. A blur.
Oh, was that a hiccup?
No, that was kind of a half swallow and a cough at the same time.
Okay. Between Two Towns. Congratulations, sweetheart. That is awesome. You
Very
finished your
happy for you.
finals.
No, that's a relief.
Mm-hmm. That is huge. Congratulations to you. If I had like a firework, I would put it off right now. Or how do you even say that? Would fire it off right now?
Strike a match. I don't know.
I don't know.
The Harry Potter drink is sweet and tastes like butterscotch.
Now I love me some butterscotch. Like Werther's originals are pretty darn good.
Yeah, it almost makes me want to try it. Try to find it because I have no idea what it is. I'm just curious.
I am curious too. Okay, Carson says a swallow. Yes, a cough and a swallow. Right?
Cough and a swallow. A choke.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, you deserve it. You did all the things.
Yeah, that's a good week. It's a good month. So, like I said, I hope everybody is so far having a good week and getting set up for Christmas. Brentwood, glad you could jump in. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
And Carson,
you
keeping
would light S firework. Carson, you're no better than I am right now. I'm sorry. I know you said you would light a firework, but you hit S instead of A. I gotcha. They're right beside each other. It's difficult.
Typing is tough.
Typing and speaking are tough. Yeesh. It's been a day and a half. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to describe us your day and a half.
No, I was just, I was thinking about, my grandfather and all the things, but it's been a day and a half.
Yeah. Helping a 96-year-old 4 hours away is sometimes a fine balancing act, particularly when you've got personalities involved. So
not just his and mine, but many others.
Y'all not just say a little prayer for Ellen.
Not schizophrenic, like the people who are invading his home. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't say that actually.
Oh, was I not supposed to? Sorry about that.
Well, this is Tuesday night Q&A. So
sorry.
So if you've got some questions, feel free to throw them out. We're pretty open. We just pretty laid back show as it is. But couple comments as far as this week in the markets.
Wait. Melissa, we are going to do a premiere of the investing video on Thursday. Okay, so we will be in the comment. Huh?
I thought about mentioning that, but was a little hesitant to.
Even if it sucks, we'll premiere it. I don't care. We promised for like a year. It is coming. So Melissa, we will premiere that. Oh, my grandfather just texted me. And we will be,
Ellen is sucking at multitasking. We need to help her work on her skills here.
no, I'm, oh gosh, y'all. Talk. I got a second.
Okay. All right. We're just noticing some things going on in the markets, continuing to rip a little higher, or, practically is it? That's kind of a big question. Previously, we've talked about the Magnificent Seven. The S&P 500 is one of the main indexes in terms of how the overall market is doing, an index of the market. Well, out of those 500 stocks, there's 7 that have been in their own little world. People refer to them as the Magnificent Seven. And there you go. You've got Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Well, those 7 stocks hadn't been a bad year for them. As you can see, Alphabet, which I think is kind of a ridiculous name, formerly Google, I still refer to them as Google actually, is up 50% this year, which is not bad at all. Damn good year. But when you look at some of the others, Nvidia, plus 235%. Tesla, up 106%. Apple and Alphabet are the laggards. Meta is up 178. Now, I'm not sure why the hell anybody would buy Meta. That just seems like a very limited future to me, but it's done well. The interesting thing about this Magnificent Seven, is the gap between those 7 companies and the other 493 in the S&P 500. As of a few weeks ago, the Mag 7 were up 69%. The other 493 were down 2%. Now, as of this morning, the Mag 7 were up 76% on average for the year, and the remaining 493 were up only 12%. That's a gap of 64 points. 64 points. Now, if
What are we talking about? What happened?
the Mag 7.
You mean the bullshit 7?
Here's a picture of the
Am I
of
wrong?
the gap.
Am I wrong?
Well, I don't know. The S&P 500 average is here. But as you can tell, the 493, the vast majority of the S&P 500 is far below that, is well below that, whereas those 7 stocks really account for the overwhelming amount of the S&P's stellar return for the year. So it's not uncommon to have the market led by a portion of stocks. If you remember or ever heard of the investing in the 60s, you probably heard of the Nifty 50. So there were, 50 or 60 companies.
I wish we had 50. We have 7.
We have 7. And that's what's so fascinating is normally you're looking at the S&P being led by anywhere from 10% to 30% of the companies. So 50 to 150 companies are really, all moving the index forward. Now it's just 7 of them, 1.5% of the companies. That's what makes this so fascinating.
Which makes it sort of not a thing.
Yeah. If you look at the overall market, throwing out the top 7, 12%, which really all has come in the last 3 or 4 weeks, which may fade just as quickly.
Can I be an ass right now? The Fed and the government are selling you a bill of goods. They are just totally screwing with the interpretation of the market, in my opinion. That is not Clay's opinion. That is just mine.
I do think there's an awful lot of pumping going on as far as the market, and I don't know that it's fully deserved. People are like, I love Animal House. If you haven't seen Animal House, go sell all you have and buy a copy of Animal House.
Why don't you just rent it on Netflix? Wouldn't that be easier?
Well, everybody should own a copy if they can't have so they can have continual access to it, because it's a great movie, a great
real quick.
philosophical statement.
All right, Carson, you better get more than $37.50 this time, because I'm giving you crap. And yeah, this is just about day-to-day life. My grandfather, I convinced him to close all of his credit card accounts. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, Clay, but this is like a thing right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't go into a lot of personal details.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, we closed all his credit card accounts because everyone on the planet was using them, in my opinion. I know that I'm being a little, whatever. But, no, and I, being 4 hours away, which, Clay said earlier, it's hard to like get the things that he needs for him quickly, and then having to take all the receipts up there, and then I was like, Pop, we should get a check card just for your account, just for me, just so it's here in Wilmington, and then I can easily. He had a problem with his phone charger. I was like, I could have had him one tomorrow at his house. And I'm just like, okay. He was like, if it simplifies things, then go ahead and do it. I'm like, oh, thank the good Lord, because I don't want to do it without his blessing, because that would be just awful. He's had enough of that, people taking advantage of him, and I just can't. I mean,
yeah, there were even accounts being opened in his name that he had no idea of.
Yeah, they were.
It was getting a little severe.
Yeah, like for $400 or $500, they were credit cards in his name that he didn't have any clue about, none, that were opened after I canceled all the credit cards. Sorry.
That's okay. So we're talking about the movement in the stocks and what actually is going on in the market that you don't see a lot of commentary or publication on. I'm real big on following the money. I say it a lot. Show me the money. And, and even when I, have my classes, we'll talk about, why do people invest? Well, one reason and one reason only. They want to make money. Show me the money. Another great movie, Jerry Maguire. If you haven't seen Jerry Maguire,
I think everyone here has seen Jerry Maguire.
You have. Go sell all you have.
No
and
one's
buy
selling
a copy of Jerry Maguire.
It would take
House and Jerry Maguire.
Everything you have to buy movies, and I don't think anyone is in that state of mind right now, Clay.
Jerry Maguire is one of the greatest movies on finance you can ever find.
Not The Big Short?
No. Jerry Maguire teaches you more about finance. Big Short's just history. But you come away with an understanding of egos, but not motivations. Jerry Maguire teaches you motivations.
Okay.
So following the cash. Well,
I know, right, Brentwood?
I'm not all sell.
He's not even buy right now.
Yeah, he is being cautious.
The reason he says this because he's all in cash. So he's just like, yeah, I don't care what you do.
Yeah. Now the flip side is, well, let me finish this point. Talking about money. This shows right in the middle is zero. this shows the inflows or outflows every week into the NASDAQ 100, which is a smaller subset of the S&P 500 stocks. Still includes the Magnificent Seven. And if you'll notice, 2 days ago, you had the biggest withdrawal, over $5.1 billion since
Can you blow that up a little
2000.
bit, please?
That's about as
Oh,
blowed up.
come on, Clay.
So you
Okay,
had
so
the biggest
that one.
withdrawal
Okay.
since 2000, the dot-com bubble.
Is that also the Y2K bubble?
Wasn't really a Y2K bubble. It ended up being a big nothing, but the dot-com bubble.
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
Now, here the big sell, you had the COVID issue in 2007. You had some 2006, 2007. You had some spiked activity with selling, but nothing like what we're seeing lately.
Why wasn't there more of that in between 7 and 9?
Well, part of it was the market was a lot smaller. You've got a lot more cash in the economy, a lot more cash in the market now. So the daily transactions are bigger.
But isn't that a false inflation of the economy or the market?
Long story short, yes.
Okay.
A lot of this volatility and activity, a lot of this money flowing in, you'll notice, is from the larger cash flows really started around 2009, calm down a little bit in 12, then start picking up 14, 15,
then it
16.
exploded. I mean, it just went cone.
Well, now this is where you get the COVID stimulus money being paid out. So a lot of people started dumping it in the markets and then started withdrawing it to spend, cover expenses, buy housing, whatever. But this is a notable drop. Is it just people selling for Christmas? There's kind of a tradition of the markets going down in Christmas due to a lot of people selling to take losses for the year. And then they'll reinvest in January once they get the tax loss.
Moffett, what I've always said to everyone that I've ever known since I was 17 is that if you ever go in debt to buy me a Christmas present, don't. Because you are hurting yourself to give me something that I may or may not even like or want. Like, why do that?
Yeah. I agree. But consumer card debt's at an all-time record high. People are racking up charges on high interest credit cards, to either buy food or Christmas or whatever. Don't honestly know all the breakdowns. But, in terms of resale sales, you've got a lot of retailers that are out there saying, no, we're not going to hire anybody for Christmas because sales are so slow.
Yeah.
Now, some of the online are, doing okay, not great growth from last year, but so how it's all going to net out, we don't have the numbers or the information yet.
So Bezos is going to be okay.
Yeah, this is just something that's interesting to me. A lot of people don't like graphs. I love graphs. I love pictures. Of course, I'm a guy. Of course, I love pictures. But to me, a graph is painting 1,000 words. It's telling you, it's giving you information. And when things happen outside of historical norms, particularly in the market, where you have kind of what we call a mean reverting state. So you'll have, bounces up, then you'll have bounces down, but it hovers around a mean. In this case, the mean is 0.
Hey, Clay, how far back can you go to find a cone like the one that we're seeing right now?
What do you mean a cone?
Well, I mean, up to, now you're asking me to see things. 2000.
You talking about this increased volume at the end on the right hand side?
Yeah. When's the last time that cone has
No,
happened?
that never occurred of that size or magnitude because one, the economy's grown. You've got more people in it. You've got more people investing. You've got more people with retirement accounts. You've got the COVID stimulus. You've got, which you should see over time. You see how small this is.
Yeah. That's what
And
I
you
would.
kind of see it widening out as time goes by. And then it really kind of becomes more noticeable and jumps here. But that's COVID stimulus. That's
Is that
free
more of
money
like
being thrown out.
Is that more of like a black swan event?
No, it's just free money.
No, I'm just mean.
Remember your daughter's boyfriend who was making 150 and then had to quit working due to the lockdowns and started getting, what was it, 900 a week?
He's talking about 150 a month and then 900 a month. Yes.
Okay, 900 a month. Yeah. So that's what this is. Tons of people like him. Tons of people like him.
Why should that? I know. I should just shut up. But this has never been a thing, which is why I call it a black swan event. It's something that never happens.
Well, it's just increasing over time. Which is really what you would expect. You wouldn't expect it to be this rapid, but that's just the COVID stimulus. Now, something else that's unusual.
Okay.
This is the VIX index. Historically, it's kind of commonly called the fear indicator, the fear index. Brentwood, this is for you. As the market will rise slowly over time, bit by bit, steadily over time. And when it does, VIX drops because there's not a lot of movement in the market. It's not volatile. So VIX is a volatility indicator. So when VIX is low, that generally means the market is going up steadily. But when VIX rises quickly and suddenly, that means the market is crashing. So here you've got, late 2008, September, October, when the market just absolutely fell. You've got, some issues in 2010, 2012. Here you've got the COVID crash. But what I want you to notice is how low this index is getting, 12.53, which when it gets low, when it gets around a 12 or 10 handle, you normally will see a pretty relatively quick spike in the numbers. So
okay, what years are these? I can't.
This goes back to 2008. This
Okay,
2006. Yeah, when I enlarge it, I lose the years. So this is 2006. This is today.
Okay. So 2008, 9, and then 2000.
Yeah.
What was the spike?
12, 14. You had a couple little shaky days in the market.
I mean, the latest
And
spike.
COVID. Yeah.
Okay.
COVID. The COVID crash.
Sorry, I had to deal with family things.
No, that's all right. So this is not the interesting thing to me. This is the interesting thing. Once it starts getting this low, either times are really, really good and the economy is just tooling on. See, you'll notice here was a prolonged period with consistent lows. Normally, VIX is going to hover around 18 to 24. And here you see a lot of consistent lows in the, 12, 10s, 13s.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Spikes.
What is VIX again? I'm sorry.
The fear index. It's a measure of volatility. So when it rises, that means normally that the market is selling, is falling. When it rises high, it means the market's crashing.
Gotcha.
Like it did in 08 and the COVID. March of.
But it didn't crash. It should have crashed.
It did crash. Yeah, it was down 30%.
Yeah.
So
They said they had the best week or the best day in the market this past week. Is that correct?
Depends on how you define best. In
Well,
history, no. Like I said Saturday night, the market on an inflation adjusted basis is still 10 or 12% below where it was
was when?
pre-pandemic. So
Get off the. Excuse me. Get off my clothes. You're clean. I just washed those.
when
Calm
the
down.
Ellen,
Sorry. Tallulah's getting in the
look, I'm just going to mute you while you yell at the dogs.
Oh shit.
So when it gets down this low, either the economy is doing really, really well, or it's about to adjust upward. So do you think the economy's doing really, really well? That's the big issue. If it is, it's probably going to stay low. Or is the Fed going to start printing free money? That's what I was trying to point out earlier. This period where you see it hovering consistently low, well, this is from basically 2011 through 2017, when the Fed was doing a lot of QE, providing a lot of free money to the market. So that helped it to grow during those times. Was actually very important in the market rising during those times. So this is, and I've mentioned several times that the market wants the Fed to start up free money again. That's what they've all been hoping for the past year. So is the Fed going to start, lowering rates and start QE again? Or
said they
is
are.
the economy just really booming?
They said they're going to start lowering rates next year.
So Brent, is that sell? Now, I talk about how, the Fed's liquidity providing free money is boosted the market. Well, this is a chart that I saw from, Apollo chief economist. And what the blue line is the Fed liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
The green line is the S&P 500. And as you can tell, they pretty well track each other.
They do.
As the Fed provides more liquidity, the market goes up. As the Fed provides less liquidity, the market goes down. Now the market is starting to go up again. Is it doing it because the economy's so good, or because it's expecting the Fed to start pumping more money?
Fed.
That's
money.
the $1 million question. And, keep in mind, the Fed has different ways of providing liquidity. This particular determination is basically the Fed's Treasury general account, a short-term cash account, as well as changes in its balance sheet or changes provided by repos, overnight repos or reverse repos. Now, let me explain repos to you real quick. A repo is a financial transaction where it's a collateralized loan. A borrower will basically lend a $1 million treasury bill for one night, 2 nights, maybe a week, short term, and then borrow cash against that treasury bill, $1 million. At the end of the loan period, they will pay the cash back with interest and repo the treasury bill. So they repossess the treasury bill. A reverse repo is just the opposite. They're lending out money and holding the treasury bill as collateral. So they're opposite sides of the same coin. One side, from one side, it's a repo. From the other side, it's a reverse repo. So if the Fed is doing repos, it's lending out securities and borrowing money from the market. So it takes cash out of the economy. It's draining liquidity. If the Fed is doing reverse repos, it's lending out money and holding the security as collateral.
Okay,
So
wait.
it's adding liquidity to the market.
Okay, so the Fed, the repo is the Fed. Once again, make it simple.
I did. A repo is whoever's repossessing the collateral.
Who was whoever?
Well, it's either you've got the bank and you've got the Fed. So
Okay, so
if the bank is passing off a treasury bill as collateral, the Fed lends it money.
Okay,
At
you've
the
got
end of that term,
whoa.
it repays the money and repossesses the treasury bill.
Back it up. How do you put a treasury bill as collateral? Or how do you?
Don't worry about the transaction nuances. Let's just say that it happens.
Because we don't want to learn anything? Come on.
Well, if you learn what a repo and a reverse repo is, you're ahead of 99.9% of the population. So I'll take that as a victory for tonight.
So we shouldn't know?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, we don't get to understand this. We're only.
Do y'all understand what a repo and a reverse repo is?
Because I'm a little confused.
That's the real question.
Confuzzled.
Yeah, you don't need to understand the paperwork behind the transaction. You just need to understand what the transaction is.
Okay. No one's responding. We don't know. Why are you in my laundry basket again? Really? Sorry.
So the idea is that the Fed has been providing tons of liquidity, helping the market rise. The expectation is that they're going to do it again. Now, keep in mind also the Fed has been running the BLTF, the Bank Term Lending Facility. This was the program put in place after SVB crashed to provide short-term cash to the banks. Well, if we look at the program in terms of the amounts the Fed has lent out, let me put Ellen's mic on mute. She needs a little help with the technology on occasion. Here is March of 23 when the crisis hit, SVB crashed. The Fed lent out basically $60 billion to them and a few other banks. But you'll notice since then, the amounts keep increasing. They are still increasing, and they are still increasing to where the amount lent out has doubled since March. Amount has doubled since March, continues to grow. Now, keep in mind, the payments for this program start in March. The banks have to start repaying it in March of 24. So my question is, if banks are having to borrow to meet liquidity needs now, and liquidity, banks are having a lot of people withdraw money because the banks pay very low rates. And so people are withdrawing their money and putting it in higher yielding money markets with the mutual funds or wherever.
The Basel III endgame.
Whole different topic.
Well, liquidity is a big deal there.
Yeah, a whole different game.
Okay.
The banks don't have enough cash to meet their redemption request. So that's why they're borrowing this money from the Federal Reserve to meet redemption request. So if they're borrowing to meet liquidity needs now, how are they going to find cash to pay for the debts they've taken on 3 months from now?
I don't know.
As of October, bank deposits have dropped for 5 straight quarters. If we look at deposits, normally banks have overall inflows. They'll have some quarters where maybe there's like tax season, people making payments into the year or whatever. And then, some of the refunds start coming in. But this is obviously very weird, very unusual. Banks are seeing continual drops for the past 5 quarters. That's 15 months. Drops in deposits, which is crushing their liquidity. That's why they're having to borrow from the Fed. Probably better if I add that to it. Is that better?
Yes. Sorry, I was just looking on, oh crap, Rumble to see if we had any questions there.
So you've got this rather noticeable, unusual behavior going on. This is just an absolute crushing of bank liquidity. So if they don't have the money to pay depositors, where are they going to get the money to pay back the loans they're taking out to cover this outflow? Also, bank net income has fallen, and their net interest margin, the spread it earns on its investments over the rate it pays for deposits. So you deposit money at the bank takes your deposit and pays you interest, or maybe it's a checking account and they don't pay you any interest. But they take your deposits and they'll buy investments with it. Well, the money they earn on those investments versus what they pay you is their spread, their net interest margin. And that spread keeps tightening, gets smaller and smaller, which is not a good sign for banks. Again, banking issues. Now, the FDIC tries to call this or refers to this situation as being resilient. To me, being propped up temporarily comes to mind, which may be a reason why the Fed is considering cutting rates, because banks are going to have to borrow money to repay loans. And so if the rates are still high, that's just going to long-term crush more and more banks. So does the Fed cut rates? That's an impetus or an encouragement for them to do it. A pretty damn strong one at that. Flip side is, what most people don't understand or realize is that inflation still persists. Now, in the media, you'll read all the titles, inflation down, inflation drops. What they don't really talk about is that the rate of increase has dropped, but it's still increasing. Prices are still increasing at a high rate, more than double the Fed's target rate. Inflation in many sectors is increasing significantly, but we've seen oil and gas drop significantly, which have offset, a lot of the other increases. And we talk about inflation a lot, but I don't think I've ever described the different types of inflation. So some terminology for you. And the different types that
we're going to pause right there.
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, guys, we love y'all. We love doing this, and we hate to even ask this, but please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. And the more you comment, the better off we are, so we can keep doing this. Just, I'm begging. My Christmas present from y'all, but that would be great. Okay, proceed.
Ellen having a sweet little emotional moment. She gets all caught up. But seriously, we do this because we enjoy it, and y'all are a big reason why we enjoy it. Y'all are great people, and kind of a little family. So if something is not helping you, let us know. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Mm-mm.
If you have questions, if something I say doesn't make sense or communicate, let us know. Like I say, this is really y'all's time to ask questions. A good time for y'all to ask questions or to, suggest things that you're curious about. But bottom line, if what we're communicating doesn't help you, I'm doing it wrong. So I'm suck at mind reading. Literally, honestly, I swear, I
Trust me,
suck at
it's a
mind
thing.
reading.
He
You can
he
ask
does suck
any
at
of
it.
my exes, they'll all vouch for me. But I do take hints, not real subtle ones, but I do take hints like, Clay, I'm interested in this. Or Clay, what you're saying, I don't agree with. I don't know. I don't understand. Clay, did you drink too much scotch before you came on the air? Clay, have you been sniffing too much dog hair? The answer to
Well,
that is always yes.
he does well with instruction. But yeah, it's like we need to hear from you guys. We need to know what you want to know. Anything financial, for sure, we got it. If we don't know it, like on the fly, Clay will do the research and tell you everything that he knows about it. But we really, 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 really want to keep doing this. And we just need a little, love and support. That's all. You don't have to, be a member. Just, you know, hit the like button, subscribe. Doesn't cost a thing. Do some comments. It helps us so much. And we want to help you guys, but we need to know like what you want to hear, what you want to know. Is that fair, Clay?
Absolutely fair. Welcome back, Carson. Hope you found you some good bottles.
For now.
Between two towns.
Welcome back to Carson. Share it. We share it everywhere we can. Yes, please, people share all the things. Yeah, that would be great.
And speaking of sharing, we've got the Christmas quote unquote special coming up. Some of y'all are a little bashful. Haven't gotten anything from you. And I kind of understand in a way, because if you wanted to be on YouTube, you probably would be hosting your own channel or whatever. I just thought it'd be a fun idea to have little, comments or short videos from people saying what they loved about Christmas or their best memories were or whatever. But if it's not a good idea, if you're hesitant to share, yeah, let us know.
Say, terrible idea, guys. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're fine with that.
The book club seems to be gaining some interest. So we're open and trying to do some new little stuff. Open to ideas. And just thought it would be a great way to kind of spread Quan in the family.
And Between Two Towns, if you haven't checked out the previous videos, it is The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis. It's a very short 114-page book.
Yeah, it depends on which version you buy, but it's not long.
Yes. We'd love to have you. We do it on Zoom. It is not like there's no monetization on that. We just do it just because it's fun to talk to you guys and hear your thoughts.
And I'll post the Zoom link in the community news, or we'll email it to you if you want to. Just drop me an email moffatonmoney@gmail.com or DM me on Twitter, moffatonmoney.
Yes.
And absolutely, you can get an audio book. We try to pick books that are in the public domain.
It's actually on YouTube. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me find it real fast. I think I posted it a couple weeks ago, but I will find that. Why can't I will find it real quick.
Yay, Melissa. Made a little video this afternoon, still editing. That's quite all right. Just wanted to, see what everybody's overall thought was towards the idea. It may not work. And if not, okay, we tried it. No problem. But just thought it would be a fun little night to have people share, some happy thoughts about the season, whether it's a Hanukkah season for you or Kwanzaa or Festivus. We're not really specific. Can hear Chunk grumping. He's obviously got a stick.
Always grumping. He is the grumpiest little.
It's free YouTube.
Ever. Hang on,
Ellen's trying to find a link.
Share.
She should be relatively close.
Yep. Copy. All right, here we go.
But it's a great little book, and it's kind of not an uncommon topic for people to have deep pain or hurts or know someone who does and who is questioning why, questioning, their own existence, maybe.
Or the Israelis or the Palestinians. That has been a huge thing recently. And that is the link. I hope you can click on that. But yeah, it's a really very interesting book and a very different take on why people suffer. And C.S. Lewis is a great Christian author.
And let me say this. You don't have to be a Christian to enjoy the book.
No.
There is just insight and attitude and a development of, it's hard for me to say the benefits of pain. But if I were to sum it up, like in my life, the times I have learned the most about myself and, developing a better sense or perspective of reality is the difficult times. The times when I have grown the most have been some of the difficult times. It's not the good times.
No, those are easy.
If you know somebody who has experienced nothing but quote unquote good times,
they're lying to you.
Well, yeah,
they're denying not anything they've ever had.
Yeah, there's some issues there.
Carson is the only human ever who has not watched Jerry Maguire.
You need to watch Jerry Maguire.
You have to.
It's an entertaining flick, but it's like a morality play on finance. You'll hear me oftentimes say, "Show me the money."
Or in the sports world, it is.
Well, in any world.
Finance. Well, yeah, but
in any world,
I'll shut up.
No. Because what do people invest for?
Money. I lost you.
What's the reason people invest?
There you go.
Only one.
Money.
Show me the money. Why do people put money aside for retirement? Show me the money.
For chunk.
When you buy something, do you buy something that's the best value to you? Show me the money. Most every decision people make is made off a perception of value. Show me the money. You go to the grocery store, you've got 99 different loaves of bread to choose from. Which one do you buy? Do you buy the 99-cent Wonder Bread? Do you buy the $15 handmade, artisan sourdough whoop-de-doo bread?
Moffat.
What represents the best value to you?
I got 99 problems and being a Man ain't one of them. I did give Clay that shirt for
I don't know what that
fun.
has to do with what I was talking about, but
You said 99
okay.
different breads.
Ellen.
Never mind.
Ellen, focus. It's
ADHD.
ADD.
It's a thing. What's a
So
titted?
whoop to do bread. It's
I don't know.
the one with the biggest sticker on it. The highest price bread. I'm not going to say it's any better because I honestly a lot of times can't tell the difference. But there are people who will go into certain high-end bakeries and buy, handmade loaves of bread with some special seed or something in it. So I call it a whoop-de-doo bread. So you can pay 99 cents for a loaf, or you can pay $15 for a loaf. What governs your choice? Which one represents the best value to you?
Melissa?
I remember reading in a magazine article at the time the movie came out where Renee Zellweger said while shooting, she could not afford to dry her laundry.
Yeah, she
Damn, I
was
didn't know that.
broke. Yeah, she was stupid broke.
Yeah, Stallone, when he was trying to sell the script to Rocky, he was basically homeless and couldn't afford to feed his dog. He had to sell his dog.
No.
Yes, he had to sell his dog. And then when he got his first check from Rocky, he tracked the guy down,
bought him back,
and bought him back.
I hope
paid
so.
a nice premium for him, but got his dog back. Melissa, Tom and Nicole bought her a stereo for her birthday. After that movie, she was shown the money. Yes, she was. But seriously,
Yes.
I mean, even when you pick a significant other, how do you decide that this person is the one you want to be your significant other? It's because they have the best future. They make you feel the best, whatever. They have the best value to you. So, by the way, Brentwood, this is not me saying sell, sell, sell. I'm saying there's some things you do want to buy, but it has value.
He always tries to sell me.
To you.
It's okay.
Man, I made one comment in jest 6 months ago, and I've yet to live it down.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I mean, how many of y'all have been married or whatever with somebody?
We
and
aren't
you're joking
married.
around with folks, and you say, you tell, and somebody brings up issues with, their relationships or whatever, and you talk about, yeah, I just sold her for a nickel, or sold him for a nickel, or whatever.
Clay,
it's just a joke.
We're roommates, and you put me up for auction. That's a little bit different.
No. Well, I didn't think it was at the time. Obviously it is. So I'll stand corrected.
Yeah.
Like I say, haven't heard the end of it yet.
And you won't.
But Carson, go watch Jerry Maguire. You'll enjoy it. It's a good flick. So, in the movie, he introduces the idea of show me the money. So a lot of times you'll hear me say, show me the money, show me the money. There's just several parts in there I use in different parts of the finance class. I don't want to ruin it, but there's a segment of the movie where they're estranged and she's in her home with a bunch of other women, and they're all, not that women oftentimes do that when it's just women, but they're, kind of trashing men.
It was a divorcee meeting.
Yeah, that kind of thing, which whatever. So Cruz busts through the door.
Which you know everything about. No. Okay.
Which Cruz busts through the door. Oh, and I forgot this. In the first part of the movie, he was working at this firm and she was a secretary, and they met in the elevator.
You all right?
Well, this other couple gets on and they're deaf, but they're signing to each other. And she starts smiling, and he looks at her and goes, "What did they say?" And she says, "Well, he just told her that you complete me." So, fast forward, they're together, go through some hard times, trying to get a new business started. She's at this meeting with all these other women, bashing the hell out of men, talking about how worthless and evil they all are. And he
They had
busts through
hard
the door,
times. Okay, hang
and
on.
he busts through the door
He's
and
not going to let me
says,
think.
"You complete me." And of course, there's just total silence in the room. Tears start flowing. He starts to explain more, and she says, "Shut up. You had me at hello."
Hello.
So, I'll use that in talking about finance too, when there are financial syndicates or groups put together to buy other companies. It's a "you complete me" kind of deal. There's just a lot of analogies from there that apply in the field of finance. So, a great movie.
Hey, Clay, you had me at I'll take the highest bidder.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say something else that was kind of funny, but yeah, I lost that thought.
Well,
Today was about the fallout.
while Ellen is thinking about the auction process, we'll talk about the different types of inflation. And some of these are really only be known to economists, but thought I'd give you a little background.
Do we have to
And I'm
talk
sure
about
this will be
inflation?
exciting for all of you. Do what?
Do we have to talk about inflation?
No.
Can we talk about fun things?
Like?
I don't know. Puppy dogs. Green beans. Chunk's incessant need to irritate me right now or talk to me, which is pretty much irritating.
Y'all help Ellen out. She does not want to
give us
cover
a
inflation.
topic. Look, I do want to cover inflation, but it's not happy, and it's Christmas. Oh crap! Okay, between two towns, there you
go. I try to tell Ellen, people watch this actually to try to get some information, but
we
she's
give
just
a
not
lot
a
of
believer.
information. It's Tuesday,
and we have a believer.
I have a little dog going.
She's an apostate.
Yeah, every 2 seconds. So fun.
All right, let me cover some of the different types of inflation.
All right, fine, go.
One type is cost push. Cost push. This is a common cause of inflation where the cost of producing goods increase. So that pushes prices higher. For example, a manufacturer like GM just went through a strike and awarded a new contract to the UAW. And now the auto workers are going to be making minimum $140,000 a year. Well, on average, this is going to increase the price of a new car by $1,000. That's cost push. That's an example of cost push. Oftentimes, cost push is unique to an industry. It's really not systematic. It's not system-wide. Like raw inputs, raw materials, or labor costs for a specific industry. If Apple has to start paying more for one component of the iPhone, you may not notice a big increase in the price of the iPhone. So it doesn't necessarily impact system-wide inflation necessarily. Demand pull, second type of inflation. It's where the demand for goods and services outstrips what can be produced, making prices go up. So like lithium, the demand for lithium grew in terms of making batteries, particularly as, for example, EV cars, electric vehicles, started selling more and more. But lithium is not something that's easy to discover or obtain. So the price of lithium went through the roof for several years. So demand pull, when demand exceeds the supply rapidly,
Wait,
outstrips
wait,
what can be produced.
wait. Didn't someone sell all the cobalt and lithium mines to a particular country?
No, some people accused Hillary of selling uranium.
Mm.
So,
Green beans. I know, right?
deflation. Deflation is just the opposite of inflation. It's a negative inflation rate or a drop in the prices of goods or services. Sky Ricky, Ozempic.
I got to put that up.
Ozempic is a great example. Yeah, sorry, I thought you had your hands full.
Well, I
Ozempic
do,
is a
but
great example. As soon as people find that it, helps you lose weight, demand for it soared. It became something really other than a diabetes drug, treatment for
however,
diabetes.
it is not good for you. Just saying.
Yeah, there is some evidence that it may cause, for example, part of the weight loss, about a third of the weight loss is muscle loss, which is higher than normal when you are trying to lose weight, trying to lose fat. So there's some issues and complications there. Main thing is, anytime you start taking drugs, just be informed. It's good to trust your doctor. Obviously, you wouldn't go to him if you didn't trust him, but do some of your own research and so you can ask them better questions.
Yeah, definitely do your homework.
So deflation, dropping of prices. Deflation is actually a big risk for the economy, and it's one major thing that the Fed wants to avoid, because when you have deflation, asset prices drop. Assets, homes, stocks, cars. And as asset values drop, for example, you put down 20% on a home, you buy a $500,000 home, put down 20%, $100,000. So you have a $400,000 mortgage. Well, if deflation hits and that house price drops to $350,000, you're upside down. You're what's referred to as upside down. You owe more on that asset than what it's worth. And when this happens, you usually see higher default rates, much higher default rates. People, probably the economy is bad, people are struggling, and they're like, why should I pay all this money for something that's not worth it? So they just stop paying and, turn the keys over. So you see much higher default rates. Banks will have much higher failure rates because people are defaulting on loans. Like I say, banks aren't made to take losses. They don't handle losses well, not designed to. Disinflation. It's kind of what we have now. It's a falling rate of inflation. You still have inflation, just the rate of inflation is decreasing. You have a slowdown in the rise of prices for goods or services. Reflation. Reflation. Yeah, this is how the government or the Fed curbs deflation. The government purposely pumps up the volume in terms of the money supply, or increasing government spending, such as the COVID stimulus payments. That was a type of reflation.
Okay.
So keep in mind, again, the government or the Fed is pretty desperate to try to prevent or limit deflation. Creeping. Sometimes you'll hear about creeping inflation. Creeping would be low or mild inflation with prices rising less than, say, 2% a year. Some people talk about walking or trotting inflation. This is kind of the mid stage where prices rise, but the inflation rate's still in the single digits. You have what we would consider to be high inflation. We had 9%, and we saw what that did, particularly to the poor and the middle class. But walking or trotting inflation would still be in the single digits. Running inflation would be in the double digits, above 10% a year. Hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is extraordinary inflation spiraling out of control. It may exceed 100% a year or 1,000% a year. Like Argentina right now is at 140% per year. Another term you'll hear oftentimes mentioned, probably increasingly now, is stagflation. Stagflation.
Kind of where we are we not?
Yeah.
Or have been.
Or maybe even heading that way.
No, sir.
Even more
no,
so.
Sir. Chunk was trying to jump on top of my desk. Sorry.
Stagflation is high inflation with a very mediocre economy or even a slight economic downturn. Now, in terms of inflation, where do we get the inflation numbers from? Well, there's several different sources, several different terms used. CPI, Consumer Price Index, is the most common and is also sometimes called the headline inflation. CPI measures the change in price for thousands of different products and makes adjustments as necessary for, quote, quality and spending habits, which is not really disclosed, how they make these adjustments. So when you see, for example, the BEA say that food inflation last year was 12%. And we talked about this previously, but some of y'all were talking about you're spending 2 or 3 times at the grocery store what you did a year ago. That doesn't match up. Yeah. That doesn't match up to 12%. So, you wonder what some of these adjustments are that they make. And there's probably a reason why they don't disclose it. But there are other important inflation measures. There is something known as the core inflation, core CPI. Core takes the CPI and kicks out all of the food and energy related products.
Why?
Now, it does this because food and energy are considered to be more volatile. Their prices will vibrate more, go up more, and go down more, depending on, monthly circumstances.
Okay.
So the core is more of an underlying economy-wide inflation. But don't get me wrong, energy, oil prices greatly impact cost because it's so essential in manufacturing so many products, transporting products, etc. Heating, we all have energy to heat and cool our homes. But core excludes food and energy. Now, there's another inflation measure which doesn't get as much press, but it's called PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures. Okay. This is a separate calculation by the BEA, which has an entirely different basket of goods. So sometimes it may differ from CPI. Pick your favorite. Again, they make, some adjustments and whatever. And, when you think of adjustments to spending habits, over time, people may decide they like a product less and switch to another product. So that's the idea behind these spending adjustments or quality. For example, when I used to buy a Snickers bar, the bar was like this big. Now, if you buy the same bar at the counter at the checkout line, it's like this. It's half the size of what it used to be, but it's the same price. Is that taken into consideration with the change in price? A lot of inflation is shrinkflation. We even talked about that. We had a number of different products displayed where their price maybe didn't change all that much, but they cut the amount in the bag or in the container. So you were getting far less. Now, just looking at some of these numbers and, how to use them or whatever, core inflation, for example, excludes food and energy, was up 0.3% last month. it was up 4% from a year ago. And understand, those are two entirely different calculations. You take the price a year ago versus the price this month, calculate that difference, 4%. But you take this month's price and compare it to last month's price, that was 0.3, which on an annualized basis would be 3.6%. So you got to be, careful in what you're paying attention to, the monthly change or the annual change. The annual change can be a little deceptive sometimes. Now, food prices, for example, were up 0.2% month over month and 2.9% compared to a year ago. I have a hard time with that number. Just don't have a lot of confidence in that number. Energy prices were down 2.3% on a monthly basis, down about 5.5% over the last year. Shelter costs, which include housing and rents, gained 0.4% and were up 6.5% from November of 22. Now, like I said, a lot of pundits cheer that it's down from 9.1, but a 4% core is still high, double the rate that the Fed says that it wants. And both the core and the headline increased over last month. The key point there is I don't know that the Fed has ever talked about cutting rates as inflation is increasing again.
That's I heard that today, and it was excuse me, concerning. It's like they're trying to make a play to make everybody feel better. At the same time, I'm not sure how that works out.
Yeah, are they doing it due to political pressure? Are they doing it to, thinking about banks in March having to pay higher rates? Are they doing it for political purposes to try to help, election chances? There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts.
Well, we discussed this, I think, a few months ago. Like, when was the last time that the Fed decided to decrease rates? We were in inflation, and that was the Great Depression.
Yeah, it has been a while. Now, I don't know how many of you will remember this name, but Larry Summers, who was President Obama's chief economic advisor, pretty stout individual in terms of his reputation. He published a graph supporting his argument that inflation is unlikely to be tamed yet, and Powell should keep his foot on the brakes. Here's his graph, and the gray is inflation from 1966 to 1983.
76.
This is the era generally known as stagflation, Jimmy Carter's stagflation.
Moffett, 76, not 83.
No, 1966 to 1983.
I was reading the top. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just reading this right here. The bottom line is 213 to the present. And you can tell that, in the 60s, early 70s, you had a little bit of inflation. It declined for a year or two and then bounced back up. It declined for a year or two and then it bounced back up. That's the norm with inflation. When we talked about inflation several months ago, I said the normal time to quell inflation is from, 5 to 8 years from the time, if it passes 4%, once it passes 4%.
Mm-hmm.
So now this period was a little longer because the chairman at the time, Burns, cut rates, many say too quickly. And that's Summers' argument, is that Burns cut rates too quickly. He really didn't kill inflation. And, it started taking off again. Then Volcker was appointed the Fed chair, and he hiked short-term rates up to 15%. Now you can think how painful things have been with rates hiked up to 5.5%. Imagine 15%. I don't know if y'all remember. I don't know if y'all remember, but I told you my first house I bought with a 12% mortgage. Yeah, it was during that time. 1981
I think during
or 2.
The early 80s, yeah, my parents had like 22%. We were in a small town, small bank,
Yeah,
which of course
just
had more risk.
it was just stupid. And you can imagine, obviously the impact it would have on the economy, particularly now. We're worse off now because so many individuals have much more debt. A lot of that debt's on high interest credit cards.
Oh, and it's only going up.
Yeah. Corporations have an enormous amount of debt. I talk about zombie companies who can barely make their interest payments when the rates are at 3%. Imagine what they're going to do when that doubles to 6%. It's going to be pain. But imagine what they would do if it was 12%. They would be they'd be dead. And they may be before long anyway. We're starting to see bankruptcies increase.
Yeah, I was telling you, I think we mentioned this the other day that I got a credit card offer for like 35.999%. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Why would I ever take that? Ever?
So what do y'all think? I'm curious as to your opinions. Is inflation contained, or are we going to have another bout of it? Will the Fed cut rates? Jay Powell for a year has been saying higher for longer. He's well aware of what Burns did in cutting too soon. And he has stated publicly several times he's not going to repeat the same mistake. But has that view changed? What does his comment higher for longer mean? I'm curious as to y'all's take or thoughts. Keep in mind, we've had free money for over a decade. We're at an all-time high, as I mentioned, in consumer debt, in government debt, in corporate debt. Literally parabolic increases in these levels over the past 5 or 10 years. A noted, author, a guy by the name of Jim Grant, has been very outspoken on this. He's argued that the Fed has created, by keeping rates so low, money so cheap, free money, he's argued that the Fed and the government have created the greatest credit bubble in history. Now, this Grant, he's a guy that called the subprime crisis years ahead, and he described it in great detail, and he was spot on. So he's no lightweight. He argues higher for longer will create unsustainable debt crisis. If they cut significantly, there'll be more inflation and a stagnant economy, like Jimmy Carter's stagflation. So what do? Carson,
we
time to
drop
bottles off and then talk to the eldest. Replay crew for the rest. Man, thank you. Appreciate you being with us. Between two towns, I don't think they're going to lower the interest rates.
Can they?
I kind of love you too, Carson. Hope you have a great night.
We love you,
Thank
dude.
you, sir.
Take care of those babies and your wife.
My view is not far different from Grant's, probably. I think most of you have at least some intuition or idea of my view. And with trying to read what, has been what Powell and some of the other board members have stated this past week, I think it's probable that unless inflation really upticks strongly, that in March, you might see a 25 basis point cut. But I don't know if they'll cut much more. So they'll make kind of a symbolic cut, but still keep the rates fairly high.
A basis
because
point, like, is that like a quarter of a percent? The two,
yes, 25 basis. Yeah.
just making sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah. And I use basis point terminology a lot. Well, 100 basis points equal 1%. It's like 100 pennies equal $1. So instead of saying, I've got, 1/36th of $1, I've got 3 cents, or, um, I have
3 basis points.
0.45 of $1. I just say I have 45 cents. So that's why I use basis points.
Yeah,
So
we
a
had this
50
conversation
point,
last night. I
yeah.
was like, why use basis points? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like instead of phrasing everything in terms of $1, if you're going smaller than $1, you'll use cents. So instead of phrasing everything in terms of a percent, we use basis points. So, 25 basis point or a quarter of a percent cut, I think is likely. And I think they'll do that. I want to just say for PR purposes, to try to take some of the heat off, to try to create some positive momentum. Now, a lot of it depends on what happens with inflation. You're seeing more and more people renegotiate or want higher contracts, higher pay. Some of the inflation increases haven't done a good job of keeping up with inflation, and people are hurting. We have an all-time high, the number of people working 2 full-time jobs. That's normally not a good option or one that's sustainable for an extremely long period of time. So there's a lot of, increasing pain in the economy, even though some people say, the economy is doing well. I just don't buy that.
They said that excuse me, the greatest purchase during Black Friday was essential needs. That was
Yeah.
most of the purchasing.
And I saw another stat that 65% of the online purchases were time payments. You don't pay for it now, you pay for it over time in installments or credit card.
Yep.
Which is not a good sign either.
No, but I guess people are trying to have hope that the economy will improve.
Well,
But
also
inflation has increased way more percentage wise than wages, which is another issue.
Yeah. And people also, once their debt gets up to a point where they can't afford it, and they think, it's possible they'll be going bankrupt before long, they tend to borrow everything they can.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
I mean, why not? If you've lost everything, at least get what you need for the moment to last you, because you're not going to be able to borrow again.
Take some stuff, put it away,
I mean,
for the
I get
future,
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see, credit card debt soaring, that's obviously not a good sign, but may even be, bode for something worse. Now, all right, Brentwood, you got me gunshot now.
What?
She was saying Clay's always sell.
That's like the third time you said that.
I know. She got me.
She did.
Good job, Brentwood. But if you, and I did not, if you back at the beginning of the year really thought about AI and invested in companies like Nvidia and some of the others, you would have done quite well.
I just think it's
my
dangerous.
my focus is on the entire market and the economy as a whole. I really don't get involved with trying to analyze individual companies or their prospects, because I don't have the time. I don't have the ability. I don't have the resources. There's 20,000 different stocks out there. No way I have the ability to track them all, follow them all, know when to buy or when to sell. So I generally will focus more on the overall economy. And should I be invested? I do look at sectors, but I have been, much more cautious this past year. So I really haven't spent a whole lot of time trying to focus on, sectors. If I'd have had my wits about me with AI, I would have done that. I would have, as soon as Ozempic came out and said, "Hey, this helps lose weight," huh, that's an obvious choice. The company that makes it, yeah, buy that stock. So the point is, even when overall times are bad, there's still opportunity. You just have to look for it. You just have to be aware of it, looking for opportunity, even if you don't know what specific opportunity will arise, because things are always changing.
Well, Clay, when there's such, when people are working 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs sometimes, how do they find that opportunity?
I mean, there's practical realities. When you're working 2 or more jobs, your main focus is probably, if you have a family,
Sleep,
trying to
sleep and kids. Yeah.
trying to find a little bit of time for the family and then sleep.
Yeah, I
So,
remember having 4 jobs and 2 children, and it was just like, how would I even have time to even think about this?
you
Some
wouldn't.
days were our day we would just lay in bed and watch crazy movies on like TBS. This is like years ago,
Yeah.
just to try to, just have some time together.
Yeah, that's one reason why on this channel focus really mainly on broader economic issues. Because for example, if a recession starts and the market understands that a recession is starting, is going to be painful, the market will just dump. And so it really doesn't matter what you've invested in, that stock will probably drop significantly. And for me, as an investment advisor, I've always been concerned about protecting my downside. I'm willing to give up a few points on the upside. Like right now in the money markets, I'm making, or treasury bills, 5.5%. Well, if I had invested in the S&P 500, I'd be up 12% this year.
But
But that 12% is as of today. We don't know what's going to happen the next couple of weeks. Remember, as of 2 weeks ago, the vast majority of companies in the S&P were down.
and it could
So
literally
it
drop
obviously,
50% tomorrow based on the
yeah,
current economic
yeah.
things.
If a U.S. ship is attacked in the Hormuz, if there's a bomb that goes off in New York City, whatever. There's obviously all the black swan events that can't really anticipate, but just in terms of the overall movement of the economy, this Saturday and other nights, I've gone through a number of indicators that are all bad. Now, people throw out GDP was 5.2%. Well, the U.S. government spending has grown so much, it's now 35 or 37% of GDP. So if that government spending grows enough, that increase in nearly 40% of the GDP calculation will overwhelm a small drop in the remainder, and you'll get a positive GDP. I don't think that's a good economy. I don't think that's a good number. And so I'm always looking underneath the numbers to see what components go into the numbers. And that's really what I focus on this show, is looking at the individual components and then trying to make an informed decision as to what lies ahead.
Now I've got to make a comment about Carson Pratt's last. Okay, Carson is in Canada. Love y'all. Have a great one. The fact that you embraced the Southern y'all, I just find that so endearing. That's very kind, very sweet.
That he lives in southern Canada, though. That helps.
He lives in Edmonton, near
We'll call it
Russell.
southern Canada.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, Carson, you got one there. I was just looking at that going, he said y'all.
A term of endearment.
It is.
Anybody have any questions? I pretty much hogged the show. This is really supposed to be y'all's time.
I got a passed out puppy in my arms. Let me check
I'm
Rumble
sorry.
real quick. I got Schnaffen. Oh, do you need more followers on your channel? Duh.
Yeah, I had a few offers from some folks to market the channel for us, but yeah, not going to do that.
No, we've got, it's tough. This is not an easy medium. Oh, look at that. I did not know that your Rumble thing would change too when I changed. Sweet. I've got, oh, nice. Would you have to change your, sorry, everyone.
Ellen's with her stream of consciousness, just carrying on. But
sorry.
Anybody have any questions?
Between two towns, honey, you celebrate. We are so proud of you. And we love you. And go have dinner with your hubby. And you guys just enjoy the hell out of your accomplishment. I think that's just awesome.
And again, congratulations. All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, that's, it for me.
A tired puppy. She gone.
I believe Tulu is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Solidly asleep. Just a little lump of nothing.
Green beans is he man. Some of his
allowance.
That's cute.
Well, as a good parent, I'm sure you're encouraging him to do so.
Oh, she woke up to lick. Now she'll go back to sleep. She's rearranging. Here we go.
We'll even have a beginning investing video that he can watch to help show him how to invest.
On Thursday. It will premiere.
Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
And Clay and I will be in the chat. So if you have any questions, please ask. Oh, yeah, she's gone. Yeah. So make sure Green Bean watches.
Thank you, Sky. Appreciate your faithfulness. Really do. We're all very excited. I don't think anybody will be as excited as Ellen because I'll finally stop asking her, when are you getting the video up?
Y'all, I have 15 Post-it notes all over the house going, investment video. Look at this baby, though. She's so tired. Are you tired? You exhausted? She's like, I'm a
She's stoned. So y'all tune in. You can watch Ellen talking to the dogs more.
Oh, stop it. We love you guys. And we will definitely be there on Thursday for the premiere. And then hopefully we'll see you on Friday. I know that's like Rob's night, but we're going to just try to do some like Christmassy things. Send us all your info. Whatever, not info. Whatever your rituals are.
Yeah, just do up a short little video. Tell us what makes you happiest on Christmas or what your fondest memory is, what you enjoy most about the traditions. Or, send me an email if you want to keep, confidential or whatever.
At
Well,
moffatonmoney@gmail.com. I
yeah.
put it on the community post that he posted earlier.
Yeah.
I added it.
But we love you guys. Hope you all have a great night, a great tomorrow, and we'll look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wait a
Rob
minute.
is not doing his show. Nice. And if y'all don't have anything, we will share all of our traditions. But I hope you guys can come up with some things to send us so we can, and it doesn't have to be you speaking or whatever. We just, just fun things to do.
Yeah, it's just a little, good Kwan, good karma kind of night. So tell Rob to join in and share his favorite Christmas traditions. And
Until we will be there.
we'll look forward to seeing y'all.
This is my favorite.
Good night,
right here.
y'all. Our time is up. We thank you for yours. Blessings
We
to
love
you
y'all.
all.
Sweet dreams.